Hi, everyone. Scott Pugh, principal of Jennason. We're back with our next episode of the Saying the Quiet Things Out Loud podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different in today's episode. I wanted to take the opportunity to use the podcast to introduce a service offering that's provided through Jennason, something we've had actually for a couple of years, but admittedly haven't really marketed or publicized much. And I think the time is definitely probably past that I need to step up the visibility around this particular service offering, because what I'll say is somewhat quietly, um, this has become probably the majority of what Jennason through this offering is delivering to clients on a day-to-day basis. So again, I thought it would be very timely to give listeners more information about this offering, which is called DOS Digital. DOS Digital, the purpose and the goal and focus of DOS Digital is to help life science companies adopt a particular kind of technology that's referred to as often as no code, low code, to help solve business challenges. This is something that came about. We've actually been doing this for about 5 years now, but we started the DOS Digital offering a little over a year ago, really because we are big believers in the value that this particular technology can bring to organizations. I know that probably off the bat sounds fairly technical. I keep talking about a technology platform, but interestingly enough, the whole purpose of what we're going to talk about today is actually how you can become less reliant on complex technologies to help, again, solve business challenges, process challenges, gaps, things of that nature, and being able to solve those kinds of challenges, typically much faster and at much lower cost than if you tried to go out and basically purchase, a new software application or do an implementation of a new maybe ERP module or something to that respect. So DOS Digital came about because of a consulting engagement that Jennason was doing with a client, again, about 5 years ago. That client basically had needs for a better master data management process. Their current process, or their process at the time, was heavily dependent on about a half dozen spreadsheets that would be emailed around to numerous teams all over the world. Obviously, lots of risks from a data quality standpoint. Just the fact that everybody had different copies of these spreadsheets, right? They weren't centralized, and so they knew there had to be a better option. They didn't want to remain reliant on the spreadsheets, but they didn't want to go to the other end of the spectrum, which would have been, go to their ERP provider and say, hey, we want to put in the master data management module, which they knew full well they could do that, but absolutely, didn't have the appetite from a timing or cost standpoint to go through that kind of major ERP implementation. So what we found for them through doing some research, right, is really how we came to learn about no code, low code technologies. And in particular, I'm going to talk a lot about the platform that we utilize primarily through DOS Digital, which is called QuickBase. QuickBase is again, a no code, low code platform provider. I'm going to show examples of this so you're going to see firsthand how QuickBase works. But again, the real intent here is to just give you an idea about not so much what the technology is, but more importantly, focusing on how this kind of technology actually allows companies to address business process challenges that, quite honestly, they would have never been able to feasibly address through software solutions in the past, because again, the overhead, right, the time and the cost commitment to go out and either build a software solution or to purchase an off-the-shelf software solution, it would have been just astronomically too high to try and address maybe a fairly remedial process, but still something that is tedious and is taking up a lot of resource time, or again has a lot of risk associated to it because it's heavily rooted again in spreadsheets or documents or other manual tasks. So I often say it's trying to find these solutions that are that sweet spot between it's it's a step or half step or a step better than spreadsheets, but it's not going to the extent of some major, IT engagement. That's exactly the sweet spot I think that no code, low code addresses. Uh, let's just show some quick examples of how Jennason has leveraged no code, low code for our clients over the past years. And I'll start by saying, we kind of use no code, low code through our DOS Digital offering. It really comes down to in one of two ways. I'd say on one hand, one set of clients that we typically engage with or companies that we typically engage with, they're just interested to learn about no code, low code. They maybe they've heard the idea, the concept. They don't really know much more than that. They definitely don't know where to start to try and gain more information or experience around it. That's one of the ways DOS Digital can help, right? So we'll help educate companies. Here's what the technology is. Here's what it looks like. But I think most importantly, and this is going to become a recurring theme today, is we have the ability to literally let people get their hands dirty, if you will, actually use these platforms, actually see how you can build. You'll hear me refer to it, build these business applications that can address the process challenges that you might have. That's something I think we've learned over the 5 years as we've become obviously familiar and experts within the no code, low code space. Is it's really something that you got to actually try for yourself in order to make the light bulb go off about what it's actually all about, right? To really see the potential benefit and value that it can bring your organization. So again, that's one of the first ways we can engage with clients through DOS Digital, is just purely from an education, let you try it out, let you see how it works, show you some examples of applications that we've built for other clients. The other maybe category of clients that we engage with are those who maybe don't even have an interest necessarily in no code, low code, but they just have a very specific, business process challenge or gap that they're trying to address. And oftentimes, when we understand and learn about their challenge or gap, we can propose a solution that is built using no code, low code technologies, and typically is much faster delivery and much lower cost than what they're seeing, again, going out to maybe traditional software development firms or trying to maybe buy a SaaS application off the shelf. And so that's the other way we engage with clients, is they don't really care. I don't want to say they care. They're not interested so much in, hey, we want to try to bring in a whole platform to our company. We just have this one particular solution need. And through DOS Digital, we'll do all of the design development, we'll host the application, we'll administer and maintain it going forward. So in that sense, it turns more into a traditional SaaS approach, if you will. But again, typically much faster delivery, much lower cost. We've built a very wide range of applications for clients through DOS Digital. We've built, applications that we kind of treat more as off the shelf from a Jennason DOS Digital standpoint. As an example, one being the EU FMD Alert Manager that's used by a number of companies who are complying with the FMD regulations, and they use it as their centralized dashboard to help manage alerts that are coming into this application. And then we have developed the various workflows, notifications, and other, reporting metrics and dashboards to help them through the entire alert management process. So investigating alerts, resolving alerts, communicating status of those alerts back to various entities that need to know, when alerts have been resolved. So again, that's a very specific, in this case, to the EU FMD regulation. I've mentioned before, one of the earlier applications we built was a master data manager. And so this is an application that companies use to help manage their product master data, location master data. We can actually use it to help manage packaging and serialization related details about products as well. So even things like managing, aggregation details, serialization details at each aggregation level. We can use it to manage labeling and barcoding specifications, right? So companies will use this to actually, I wouldn't say to be their artwork system, so to speak, but we can literally get down to the detail of, for this product at the case level, It's going to have this kind of label. That label is going to have these kind of barcodes, all the way down to, those barcodes having certain, specifications, layouts, etc. We can manage all of that within the master data manager. We use QuickBase to also, we've built applications that are used internally at Jennason just to help manage and run Jennason operations. We have other applications we've built more recently that are helping companies with things like data migration. So as we help companies through Jennason, we kind of do it as a combined offering, Jennason and DOS Digital. We developed a data migration manager. So as we're helping companies move from one serialization provider to another, we can use this data migration manager to basically keep track of all of the legacy data that has to be migrated. We can keep track of any conversions that have to be done to that data before it can be, import to the new system, and we can help manage the process of doing all of the verification and reconciliation checks, right, that we would do as part of any typical data migration process. We also have solutions that help manage total cost of ownership. We have solutions that help manage DSCSA partner onboarding. Again, all of these things that we can build out as business applications on the QuickBase platform. And these are just some examples. And quite honestly, they're probably even fairly complex examples of the kinds of solutions that you can build. A lot of times, the types of applications that companies are building on this platform are very simplistic, very minimal. But that's really one of the benefits of these kinds of platforms overall, is it's the value is not really leveraging them just to build one or two applications. The value comes in using them to build 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 of these smaller business applications that can be very focused on a particular business process. That's really the main difference, I think, between no code, low code, and sort of traditional software SaaS, if you will. Traditional software SaaS, you would only ever even consider either building or buying an application if it was going to address a significant, aspect of your business, your operations. No code, low code, we completely break down those barriers where we can now use and build these much smaller business applications that can address very specific processes, because again, the overhead is so significantly lower. We can build these applications literally in a matter of hours, days, depending on the complexity. And again, from a cost standpoint, with a platform like QuickBase, it doesn't cost you anymore to have one application hosted on it or 100 applications hosted on it. So that's really where there's the incentive, right, to build more applications rather than less, because that's where you're going to really start to see the value and the return on investment. One of the other more recent aspects that I thought would be really interesting to show as a quick demonstration here is how easy it is to basically build applications from scratch. And as I said, one of the more recent features that QuickBase has released, which is called this AI Smart Builder. Up to this point, or let's say up till about a month ago, most of the applications that we would build through DOS Digital, we would just start from scratch. And we would go through and, we would do the design process. We would do the application development, just kind of starting from a blank slate. This AI Smart Builder, though, since this was released about a month ago from QuickBase, this is absolutely how we start all of our applications. And I wanted to just give you a live demonstration, because I think this is probably the best encapsulates the power that can come from, how fast and how easy it is to build these applications. So let's do an example here. So what this is going to do is it's just going to ask me 3 simple prompts. What industry am I in? What do I want the application to do? And what do you want it to track or manage? So I have some inputs that I had done previously that I'm just going to copy paste here and read through them. So we're going to say we're in pharmaceutical manufacturing. What do I want this application to do? Hopefully to make something that's very timely and relevant for a lot of us in the serialization space. Let's say we want to make a DSCSA partner onboarding application. So I need to track that all of my customers are onboarded for serialization. This includes tracking the status of each customer, connection details, master data. The app should produce graphs that I can use periodically when communicating status to my management. So just a very high level overview of what I want this application to do. And then finally, we're going to give a little bit more detail about what exactly do we want this application to actually manage. We want it to manage customers, their connection status, testing status, readiness, vendor. Each customer can have one or more location master data that consists of name, GLN, address, and type. They can have one or more contacts. So we'll have this application manage contacts for us. Task lists for each customer. So what are the individual tasks that I need to do to onboard that customer? And then an issue log. So if we ever encounter any issues or challenges through establishing connections or testing, then we can log those issues in this issue log. So again, plain English, simple prompts, this new AI builder. I'm going to click on create. It's going to run for probably just 2 to 3 minutes at most. And what the output will be is essentially the start of my business application, in this case, to help me do DSCSA partner onboarding. So again, what we're comparing this to is what I think many companies have been doing up to this point, which is just simply managing partner onboarding through spreadsheets, manual tasks, manual processes, right? A new customer needs to be on board them. They add them to a spreadsheet. Maybe they send emails out to the various team members to say, hey, we have a new partner. And then they start the process of the onboarding itself. What we're trying to do is to say, look, in the matter of 3 simple prompts, about 1 to 2 minutes of initial build time, I now have the start to a DSCSA partner onboarding manager that was completely built for me just by providing those prompts. It has a dashboard, and not everything that the AI builder is going to put in place up front may be relevant. That's, of course, where we now have the ability to completely customize and change anything in terms of what's on the dashboard, the other data sets that it's going to manage for me. But again, we're comparing this to the fact that, instead of having spreadsheets, we just took 1 to 2 minutes and 3 simple prompts, and it built out a partner onboarding manager for me, right? I can now manage each of my customers, right? I have their connection details, testing status, production readiness, vendor, just like I asked it to do in the initial prompts. Within each of those customers, I can now manage its location master data, right? So if I have name, GLN, address details, I have my onboarding task details. So what were the tasks that I either want to complete or need to complete to onboard that particular customer? Here's my issue log. So we said we want to just be able to way to quickly log an issue record if we have challenges in maybe connectivity or testing. And then finally, contact details, right? So we said we want to use this to just manage and maintain all of the contacts. So as we're going through the onboarding process, I have this easy centralized place within my dashboard where I can quickly see who the contacts are for that particular customer. And this is another good example of where the AI really comes into play. I just said I wanted a contact list by customer, and it knew, okay, contacts, you probably want to manage name, email, phone number. And then again, I can add more. I could add maybe a job title, organization name very easily. That's where now the power just of the core no code, low code aspects comes into play. Let's just say, and I'll just kind of show as a quick example. Let's just say I wanted to quickly add a couple of additional fields here. So let's maybe just add a start date for my onboarding. So that's going to be a date field. Maybe let's add a field that is where I can capture their T3 preference, right? It's something we've seen through onboarding processes is we've been asking customers, do you want us to continue sending T3s? Do you want us to stop sending T3s when the T2s are established? And so we can create, a T3 preference field. And let's just say, continue to send T3s is one option. Stop sending T3s once T2 is established. Or maybe we'll give them a TBD option, right? So I've added 2 new fields. This is where the power of no code, low code comes into play. I didn't have to write any actual software code. I just added those 2 fields. I provided the details of what I wanted those 2 fields to basically manage. And I can even, do some of the basic UI layout. So let's say I want my start date field to go up here. I'll go down and grab my T3 preference field, put that underneath, right? And so just like that, I've now updated the UIs, which again were automatically built out for me as part of the AI builder. So both the UI aspect, all of the underlying databases that are actually managing these different data sets and fields was built out automatically. I can go through now and say, let's say we started to onboard them today, and their preference is to continue to send T3s, right? And so, I mean, that just, again, very quick and easy example of just how easy and fast we can actually build applications. And again, having done all of that without having to do any sort of, let's call it, traditional software development. We're not writing lines of code. We're doing everything through point and click. I think it's important for companies to kind of experience and see how these, again, business applications can be built out. Because in our experience, what we find is, again, once people start to understand the concepts, then their mind starts running, right? And they start thinking about all the different areas, right? All the different things they do on a day-to-day basis, or all the different things that their team is doing on a day-to-day basis. And they start to realize, oh man, wouldn't it be neat if you can literally take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even an hour to build one of these business applications. But if it's going to address a process that saves somebody 30 minutes or an hour a day from having to do, again, a very manual task or using spreadsheets and documents, the ROI becomes very clear very quickly. And then you start to think, well, what if I can replicate that, 5, 10, 50, 100 times? You really start to see, the power of the savings that this kind of platform and this kind of technology can deliver. And so going back, right, I mean, that's why at DOS Digital, and the reason we wanted to really formalize this as its own service offering is because we saw this benefit. We sort of saw the value that we think this is going to bring a lot of companies, and it was worthwhile to set up a service offering to help companies, adopt this kind of technology so that they can really start to experience those benefits for themselves. So what I'll leave you with is one of the standing offerings that we've had. We've kind of really called this a launch offering from the start, something we still offer today to prospective customers and clients. And again, it's really just to help companies get that hands-on experience with this kind of technology and what it can do. So what we offer is, if you bring a particular business challenge or business need to DOS Digital, we'll evaluate the particular process or challenge. And if it's a right fit for no code, low code, we'll build the initial application for you. No cost, right? No commitment required up front. Once we build that application, we'll give you access to that application for a trial period of time. We'll let you use it, play around with it, understand how it could potentially, integrate or incorporate into your business. And then at the end of the trial period, again, no commitment up to that point. If you identify, yep, hey, that's a really valuable application, then at that stage is where we would start talking about, engagements, more of a traditional SaaS approach. Or if you kind of even take the next step, which is you really recognize the benefit that these no code, low code platforms could bring as a whole to your company, that we can also help you through the DOS Digital offering. We can help you, go through that process of actually procuring a no code, low code platform for your company, and then still continue to stay on, as advisors and as resources that can help you build some of your initial applications. So yeah, that's really the offering that we still stand. Bring your challenges, bring your process gaps to us. We'll evaluate them. We'll build a small application to help address them. We'll let you use that application for a period of time, and we're very confident, that you'll see the value that these business applications can bring. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to put a lot of links into the description of this week's episode, so you can find more information about DOS Digital, about no code, low code, and certainly feel free to reach out anytime with additional questions. We'll be back soon with our next episode. Thanks, everyone.